Okay. Just to talk a bit about retreats.
Mm.
Um, I've been, I don't know, 20, 30 retreats maybe in the last 5 years, and there's a process that seems to occur.
Mm-hmm.
And I would describe those retreats. The main flavour I would say is blissful. That
Uh-huh.
I can't think of a retreat I've been on that I wouldn't describe as blissful.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that go on within that, apparently. Purification, balancing, healing, and but there is that characterization which I could describe as bliss for 5 days, and it's very often it's almost like as soon as I arrive at the retreat, it seems like that. For instance, the mine. When I'm at home, I can't even remember my 2 daughters' names, and suddenly I'm on retreat, and I've booked some people, and I can remember 40 names, and it's almost like walking into the garden here. Something shifts, and obviously I can take it away with me, and it might, but there's a tendency of that apparently to fade. Now, the logical mind will say, well, just stay on retreat all the time and you'll be all right. Go on extended retreats, or does that sound like a good idea to you?
Well, I think a better idea would be never end a retreat. So you don't need to come back. Go to your home and stay in a retreat.
But then that's where the traps come in that you were talking about. Because I've tried that.
So, well, the idea, the intention behind organizing retreats for you to come, yes, is for you to nurture yourself from yourself in a way that you stop doubting who you are. Now, the length of that process and the strength of the thoughts that keep you away from being yourself, that's something completely unpredictable and something that I have no control about. All what we can do as foundation and the service and the love we want to give is to produce a space available for your own introspection and your own recollection and your own self-knowledge. Yeah, so I'm afraid I don't have a concrete answer to that.
Well, I'm going to be 60. Apparently, my body is going to be 60 very soon. If I could sell my house, I could move into a situation where perhaps I could be on something more like a permanent retreat, like a renunciation or something. Is that not something we could consider offering to old people like myself?
Can you say it in English? What do you say?
Well, why not? Why not? I mean, is it not possible to extend this circumstance that we create in 5 days, 4 or 5 times a year?
Well, of course. I mean, if I wouldn't know that it's possible, I wouldn't be motivated to invite you to retreats. I know that for you to renounce, like I said, you don't need to sell your house.
No.
It's to renounce your thoughts, to renounce your misconceptions, or to renounce thinking that you're not complete, to renounce thinking that you're not you, to renounce thinking that you're not the self, to renounce thinking that you're not free, to renounce thinking that you still have to do something, to renounce thinking that you're still not ready, to renounce thinking that you're incomplete, unfulfilled, empty, ignorant, unawakened. All those thoughts you need to renounce, and you can keep your house.
Yeah, but it's an idealism. It's like, I know we don't live in India, but...
It's not an idealism. What is an idealism? I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not talking about selling my house because it's like, oh, I'm going to have to sell my house. I'm talking about compared to Ramana, he moved to Arunachala, and because of the climate and the culture there, people could just go and hang out with him all the time.
Yeah.
So why can't we do more of that?
Because we're not in that culture, and nobody will take care of you if you sit on a retreat in the street here. And when you go to the supermarket, nobody wants to know your name.
Well,
They charge you.
we could have a circumstance in India.
But why should we go to India? I mean, India is it's
'Cause then
lovely.
we can hang out all day.
But we are hanging out all day.
Yeah, for 5 days.
Oh no, that's you. I'm hanging out all day.
I'm talking about me.
No. Well, that's your problem. That's what I'm trying to convince you.
Okay. All right.
Well, you are hanging out all day anyway.
I hang out quite a lot.
Not quite a lot. All the time you're hanging out.
Okay.
While you work, you're hanging out. While you're busy with your duty, you're hanging out. While you're in family situations, you're hanging out.
I was involved with a teacher many years ago who, when I first came across him, seemed to teach in a very radical, direct way, and there were influences, as we've been talking about, from Ramana and these places. He expressed, well, you yesterday mentioned something that you'd been feeling at some point, a lot, I can't say it.
Lost.
No, a lack or a loss of inspiration.
Yes.
This teacher, after a few years teaching very radically direct path, cutting through everything, he kind of turned around and changed everything and started setting up student levels, disciplines, rituals, elaborate community structures, because out of frustration that people didn't get the simple, direct way that he'd been teaching, apparently. Do you sometimes feel tempted to set up some elaborate structures?
No, I don't feel like. Don't worry. No, and when I say I have no, when I said what did you say? That I
Lacked
said
inspiration.
lack inspiration.
Something.
No, it's not the for the moment we share and we are together sharing and meeting together with an open heart, and so that's not. I lack the inspiration to travel and to go through different, put myself into different situations and being involved with the practicalities of satsang. That's what it's.
It's not frustrating that coming back and you present this miraculous, seemingly miraculous, wonderful truth that almost anybody can understand within a few seconds of meeting you. And yet the same old faces come back with the same old questions year after year after year. Isn't that frustrating?
No, that's not frustrating. That's not frustrating. That's not what I meant. Because exactly because there is love, you know. It would be. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't in that case, but in my experience, I never meet you again. I always meet you for first time. I really feel like we're meeting, and I listen to you, and I understand what is your own condition in your mind, and I respect that, and I don't think it should go away. I don't think it should change. I'm not expecting you to change. I'm not expecting you to come to a retreat and say, I have no more questions. Sometimes you see people trying to say things that they think I'm going to like to hear, but I'm not here to satisfy myself, really, with your evolution or your answer or your way of seeing things. I respect that process because I know it's so intimate. And I know that you could be saying whatever and experiencing something else. Because I know the mystery is capable of such a thing. So for me, I'm not measuring your evolution by what you're saying.